Hey everyone, I'm Erica Gamble on the marketing team with Pinhole Press. We spread smiles with handcrafted photo gifts, books, and games. Oftentimes we hear from customers that they want to make a photo gift but they don't know where to get started. A good place to start is knowing what photos you want to print. So we turn to our friend and Marie Kondo of memory keeping, Casey, for tips on picking your favorite photos. Casey Von Stein, aka Miss Freddie, is a certified professional photo organizer in Golden, Colorado. She helps clients all over the world make sense of their photo mess with scanning services. Casey organizes and backs up your photos for you via screen share through digital one-on-one organizing sessions and offers online classes to show you how to do it yourself.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome. So you work with a variety of clients and different varying needs, but all within the realm of organizing photos?
Yes, every client is totally unique. Some have all of their things saved on their computer. Others have everything on their phone. Some people use different cloud services. But the common factor from all my clients is that they feel completely overwhelmed. Like, no matter what their method is or lack of a method, everyone feels super overwhelmed by their photos. And so it's hard for them to make a project or order a photo gift or pick their holiday card photos if they don't feel like they're in control of their photos. Like, just the task of making a photo gift sometimes feels like too much. So I think everyone's natural first step is they're like, oh, I'm going to go to Pinhole Press and open up the book interface and start making my book. But what happens then is you're on the page and you've got 3,000 pictures from your wedding photographer, or however many. Mine gave me 3,000. It was too many. But like, then you're surfing through 3,000 trying to figure out the story and figure out like which ones are important. And you get so bogged down in that. You might finish one page or 2 pages, but then you're feeling defeated and you're like, oh, I just don't even know if I have the energy to tackle the rest. So my tip is actually handling that photo selection completely separately from the design. So when you get the 3,000 pictures from your wedding photographer, sit down and flag which ones of those 3,000 you think are book worthy. Like, these are my favorites. Narrow it down to, I don't know, maybe 100. And then when you're in the Pinhole Press interface making the book, you only have 100 to surf through, and it's so much easier to design because then you just plop it here and plop that there and you see the number going down, rather than surfing through 3,000 and just feeling like you were never going to finish the project. I think handling that as 2 separate tasks really is the key to success. I love your calendars because you only need 1 photo per page. It's so nice and simple. And so I just have to pick 12 photos. That feels doable. I can pick 12 photos off my camera roll. And then I put them on the website, and it only takes minutes to design because all I have to do is drag 12 photos onto the page. It's so simple when you already have narrowed down your photos. I personally make 1 book a year for my family. At the end of the year, I sit down and spend a few hours and I make the 1 book. And it takes the pressure off me as a mom. Like, hey, I did something with my photos. They got off my camera roll, I have them in a book, and my kids will flip through them. I keep them right in our living room so that my kids like flip through them on a regular basis. And it makes me feel really good, like my photos have a purpose. So that's always what I'm trying to teach my audience is, like, don't make it so big you don't have to make a book for each kid. You don't have to make a book for everything. You can focus on one thing first, and then if you love it, like you love your book, like you love your wedding book, then you can make more. You can build out with your ceremony and your reception. And then you can keep going. You can make copies for grandma and grandpa, but just start with the 1 book. So since I've explained I want photo selection to happen first, what I usually tell people is to go through like 5 tips. Number 1, does the photo make you feel something? When it comes up on your screen, whether it's your phone or your computer, does it make you happy? Like, does it make you feel something? And if it does, that's it. Like, flag it as a favorite. If it doesn't, move on. Like, the point is to keep it quick. Number 2, does it help you tell the story, or is it just fluff? And that's probably a question you asked yourself when you were making like the main book, like your whole wedding book. You're like, I need to narrow this down just to those that tell the story. And I can include some of the fluff or the detail shots in those more specialty longer books. And when people are sitting down to deal with family yearbooks, they're getting 600 pictures from this trip, and they're getting all these pictures from graduation, and they're dealing with a whole year's worth. So how can you narrow it down to just get rid of the fluff and just tell the story? One tip that I use there is when you go on a vacation, which we used to do once upon a time. It's so tempting to take pictures of landmarks. Like, you're at the Eiffel Tower, you take a picture of the landmark with your phone. But if you can throw people in that picture, it's going to mean more in your family yearbook at the end of the year, or your holiday card. Because people, that's the connection point, is seeing the people. And really, you could get a better picture of the Eiffel Tower, like, on Google now than what you could probably take yourself, right? So that's what I mean by tell the story. Is it a person in there enjoying the moment, or is it just kind of fluff of like a landmark or filler? Okay, number 3. Sorry, I got long-winded on that one. Number 3, use a 1-second rule. When that photo comes up on your screen, what's your immediate gut reaction? Is it a keeper or is it not? And that's your answer. We're overthinking it, like, so much. We're like, oh, is my kid cuter in that picture or this picture? Just what is your immediate reaction? Go with it 1 second. We want this to be fast so we can get to the fun part, which is designing the book itself. All right, number 4, one photo can tell the story. So I've been at birthday parties where mom gets her phone out and she takes like 60 pictures of just the kid blowing out his candles or eating the cake. And so then when she was to make her family yearbook, it could be like 10 pages of just the kid and his cake. And then you miss some of the other highlights of the year. So you really only need one photo to bring that memory back, to bring you back to that event of the kid eating the cake. So try and narrow it down to just your favorite. If it's a really important moment, throw in 2 or 3 photos, but it doesn't need to be all 60 that we took on our camera roll. And then my last tip is, if you have an iPhone, it's super easy to select your favorites. When you're scrolling through your camera roll, there's that little heart icon and you tap on it. You don't have to wait until the end of the year when you're faced with your project of your family yearbook, or maybe your calendar that you're making. You can hit that heart icon all throughout the year in smaller bursts. Maybe you're sitting on the couch watching TV. You can go back through the last month and flag just a handful, so that when it comes time to be the end of the year and you're making these gifts or these photo projects, you already have a little curated favorites folder on your phone that you can draw from. It makes things a lot easier. I think one thing that helps me is reminding myself of the goal. Like, going through those photos can be time consuming, especially if you're going back through thousands of photos and you're hitting that little heart icon. It's moving pretty quickly, but you're going to get tired. In that moment when you get tired, remind yourself, like, the goal is you having the finished product in your hand, or it's watching your mom and dad open the photo gift that you made. Like, remind yourself of that, because as soon as you finish the photo selection, then you get to do the design and make that cool gift. And so don't let the photo selection, like, be where you lose your energy. Remind yourself of why you're doing it so that you finish it out. I'm constantly getting questions from people. Well, what size book is the best? What type of paper is the best? This, and that. And I'm like, just decide and make the book. Because it'll be finished. You're not going to enjoy a book that doesn't exist. You need it to be finished, even if it's imperfect, in your hands, so that your family can enjoy it. Like, your family doesn't care the exact size, or if the pages lay flat, or how thick. They just want to see their pictures in the book. So don't let yourself get so bogged down in those details. This is a total tangent, but one thing I just started doing on my phone is I made a best of album for each of my kids, and I added their pictures into it, and I have found that is an enormously helpful tip, because when I get an email from school that's like, hey, we need a picture of this kid, whatever, I just go to my daughter's name is Jill, I go to my best of Jill album, and I'm like, oh, well, there's all the pictures I needed for her. I'm just going to print one of those.
That's so sweet.
So I will admit that I'm very much a minimalist, and I love finishing projects. So I'm very motivated. Like, I'm motivated by envisioning the end product. But I do think if you are very indecisive, I don't want the indecision to stop you from finishing the project. So if it is, like, let's say you're trying to select the one photo for your holiday card, you could get input from your family of like, hey, I've narrowed it down to this 6. And make it like a fun game, like have each of the kids vote on it, have your husband give his input. But ultimately, remember that you have to just make a decision, because sometimes when you open it up to other partners, they're going to say the opposite of what you think, and then you're going to stew even more. So I think ultimately just make the decision so you can get the project done. I think it goes back to what I said before of it. there's so many steps that come after the photo selection that if you never move past that, like you're never going to get the holiday cards printed and addressed and mailed out so that everyone can open and enjoy it. So envision the end product, like your goal of everyone getting your holiday card, and hopefully that will motivate you to just step out of the indecision or just make a decision when you're done. I think the biggest surprise for me is how people are so crippled by their photo situations that they won't start working. So they have these dreams of, I want to make these photo gifts, or I want to make this photo book, or I want my photos to be organized for my kids. And they are so paralyzed by all the things on their wish list that they do nothing, because they need to prioritize and pick one thing and start moving forward. So in my audience, I get a lot of questions, again, like I was saying, about what paper type or what this. They worry about the details to avoid taking action. And so I feel like I'm calling out a lot of people a lot when I say that, but you just need to pick one thing and start. If your goal is to send Christmas cards this year, pick the photo, make the card. If your goal is to have a family yearbook, pick the photos, make the book. But you need to separate all your tasks and just start with one, rather than lumping this whole photo organizing overwhelming world in as just like one huge massive problem. Just pick one task and move forward on it, and then you always can keep moving forward after you finish that.
See, it's been fantastic speaking with you. I learned a ton, and I'm excited to share this with the team and our followers. If people want to get in touch with you for your services or to learn more and just keep in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
I'm definitely the most active on Instagram. I'm at miss.freddy, and I share a lot of just random tips there. And then my website and blog have free resources, and then I have paid courses, so that's all at missfreddy.com if they want to learn more there.